Vancouver Canucks are back in one of the top 3 spots in the Pacific Division. They're second, or at least they're tied for second, but because of the games played, they have officially overtaken the Arizona Coyotes and the Vegas Golden Knights, not to mention the Edmonton Oilers, who are in a wild card before, officially in the Pacific Division standings, and as a result, they are second in the Pacific. It all comes after today's win on a back-to-back against the Minnesota Wild. It's a really weird game. I'll say that right away. I watched it, was really engaged, but not in the typical, oh, I'm really excited, really hyped up kind of way. I was really engaged because this game was so weird, both in its pace and its reffing, yeah, that's what I meant to say, reffing, that it really kind of immersed me in the experience of watching this game. And I was watching this thinking to myself, okay, that was a missed call right there. There was a missed call over here. What the heck is that going on over there? Why was that called? There were just so many weird moments throughout this game, and I don't even know if I could actually articulate how odd I was feeling while watching this one. And it was so odd to the point where when the Vancouver Canucks had a 3-1 lead and they were holding on for dear life because the Wild had it in the Canucks zone, cycling it around, trying to get some pucks on net, trying to score, I didn't really feel stressed. I didn't really feel in danger. I didn't feel like the Wild had any chance of scoring because I was thinking to myself, okay, this game has been really weird already. I wouldn't be surprised if something even weirder happens before the Wild are able to score. But regardless, this is a Minnesota game, which means that this is a Brock Boeser home game. He's obviously from Minnesota. I remember 3 years ago when he finished up at the Frozen Four, signed a contract, and the very next day he was playing in Minnesota, which is where the Canucks happened to be, and he scored his first ever NHL goal. I recorded a video about that literally like an hour or two after it happened, because if I recall correctly, that was a game that took place in the morning, so I wasn't really awake to watch it. I woke up and I realized, hey, this Brock Boeser guy that we drafted, 2 years ago at the time, he's playing, and then I recorded a video about it, and my voice was really low because, just woke up. That's kind of how it goes. But it's a Brock Boeser home game. The Boeser family was here to watch it. Mega excited to see Duke Boeser over there in the stands. If you're a Canucks fan, you kind of already know the troubles that Duke Boeser has had to go through over the past little while, so it's really, really nice to have been able to see him at this game, watching his son, of course. But Boeser was only one of the many Canucks in this one, and it was a really interesting game because the first period was filled with no goals, but what we did get in the first period were power plays. And that kind of word there, power play, that kind of brings up an entirely new can of worms when it comes to how this game was played. Antoine Roussel got a penalty, which put the Minnesota Wild on a power play, but immediately after the Wild dropped the puck, there was a Mikko Koivu tripping penalty over to Chris Tanev right in front of the net. So give it 7 seconds and the Minnesota Wild take themselves off the power play. Give it a few more seconds, Jordan Greenway takes an elbowing penalty against Alex Edler, so then it is 4-on-3. It's a 5-on-3 for just a little bit. The Canucks don't capitalize on that. Jonas Brodin then gets a penalty for throwing the puck over the glass, which is kind of weird. Then the second period happens, and this is where things get really, really weird, because Jason Zucker takes a penalty against Alex Edler. That's a holding penalty. Then Ryan Suter gets a really bad slash against Bo Horvat. That's another penalty. The Vancouver Canucks have a 5-on-3 to kick off the second period. And it sucks. It sucks. It's absolutely terrible. This team, when I thought they've already been super stagnant on the first power play, managed to prove that they can be even more stagnant than what we've been used to. They were just standing there, passing the puck along the perimeter, long passes, no shots on net, no movement, and everybody was kind of freaking out. Even John and John were saying, yeah, no, they've been passing it way too much. No shots from the power play, no opportunities from the power play. It's a 5-on-3 for a good, minute 30 or whatever it is, and they get no offense whatsoever. The second unit comes out there, they don't get any offense over there either, and the Canucks all of a sudden have just gone, for whatever it was, 5. And we're 5 minutes into the second period, it's still 0-0, things kinda suck right now. Roussel gets a penalty, the Canucks kill that off. Then Tim Schaller gets a penalty. And the Vancouver Canucks don't really need to kill it off because right after that, Minnesota takes a too-many-men call. It's served by Kevin Fiala. This is the second time in the game the Wild take themselves off of the power play. Then give it a few minutes, the Canucks penalty kill expires, and all of a sudden Miller, he's at the right side, sends the puck over to the point. Hughes takes a nice little slapper, and Elias Pettersson is the one who tips it in. It's 1-0 Vancouver, and it really doesn't feel great. It kind of feels more like, finally. It feels like that. It doesn't feel super happy or whatever. It's more of a frustrated, finally kind of goal. So the Canucks get over to a nice 1-0 lead at the halfway mark of the second period, and then you give it a few more minutes and then Marcus Foligno, he scores a goal. It was weird. This was a really weird one, Marcus Foligno's goal over here, assisted by Cunnin and Jonas Brodin, because the goal celebration, Foligno and one of his other teammates just lay down in the crease, kind of shaking each other's heads. They had their hands on the head of the teammate, and they were just going back and forth along the ice. Obviously, they're happy that they scored, but Clay Emu kind of joked about this on Twitter. It looks like they were celebrating his first ever goal. This was a weird goal celebration, and it was something that kind of made me uncomfortable. I was like, what am I even watching here? What? You could tell the Canucks on the ice were kind of weirded out by that. Bo Horvat, I think, had a few words to talk about afterwards to the players, I'm pretty sure. But Bo Horvat had a little bit more to say, because immediately after Marcus Foligno got the only Minnesota goal of the game, Bo Horvat jams at a loose puck out in the crease, he scores. Then, give it a few minutes after that, Miller feeds the puck over to Stecher at the point, he goes in for a long shot, and then he scores. It's 3-1 Vancouver to end off the second period, and I'm just thinking to myself, okay, if the Canucks actually lose, they don't deserve a playoff spot entirely. This team, this Minnesota team, and this game was so weird that there's no way the Canucks are going to lose, right? Well, they didn't lose. They held out until the very end. The only extra goal in this game was a Bo Horvat empty net goal, and that one was really nice. Tanev is there. He sends it over. Bo flips it up, and it curves in towards the net. And it really doesn't look like it's going in the net at first, but it curls in. The Minnesota defenseman Soucy is skating towards the puck, trying to retrieve it. But he kinda lays off the gas pedal a little bit because he wants it to go for icing. It looks like it's going for icing, but then the puck is on an edge and it spins in towards the net, and it's an empty net goal. Bo Horvat has 15 on the year. So, yeah. It's actually kind of weird too, because in the third period, Bo Horvat took a penalty. He had a really bad check to Ryan Hartman's head. And then give it a few minutes, and then Jason Zucker got a tripping penalty in the slot against Tyler Mott. That's the third time in the game the Minnesota Wild took themselves off the power play and ended up playing 4-on-4 for a while. The Canucks didn't capitalize on that, but seriously, this game was so weird. The officiating was definitely in all sorts of different directions that I don't even really feel good about this one. I feel good seeing the Canucks get a whole bunch of points, and Hughes getting an assist, and Petey getting a goal, and Horvat getting 2 goals, and Miller and Pearson getting points, and yeah, it feels really bad that Brock didn't get a point, but seriously, what a weird game. At least the Canucks are now back in the playoff hunt, and they're right smack dab there in the middle. Tied for second, but in second due to tiebreaker for the Pacific Division. And things are looking really, really nice with the games in hand, don't they? So that pretty much wraps this up. Hope you enjoyed this video. Social Network Troll 9, and bye.